Welcome to my book, The Philosophy of the Ananke, Part 15, the Updates section, which was planned from the beginning. We had 6 chapters describing the fundamental cycle of the universe, and updates have occurred since then. After the last chapter, I created a symbol for the Ananke, which I'm going to be explaining right now. Here is the basic symbol. You'll see it's labeled 1 through 12, I believe. So I'll be going through it. I'll hold it up and I'll try to read it as you see it. Number 1, which is up here, over there, says, and this is the symbol of the Ananke. This symbol, the O, represents the great, ultimate, never-to-be-reached extreme of stillness. The circumference of the circle incorporates the stillness micropoint. Number 2, which I guess is down here. This symbol is the great, ultimate, never-to-be-reached extreme of chaos. Number 3, which is, I'm trying to see what number 3 is. Hard to see it backwards. Well, wherever it is, you can look for it. Oh, maybe the middle. Number 3, the ultimate design, order, or behavior of the universe is a function of the interaction between these two extremes. The resulting motion is a rhythm, a cyclicality, a yin and a yang, a dance, if you will. It is not the result of a conflict. It is the result of a cooperation between the two opposing forces toward the goal of an ideal rhythm for each situation that you study. So let us begin to understand this dance by examining its steps. The first step, number 3, I think that's the middle. Let me see. Is it in there? No, it isn't 3. 3 is on the other side. 3 is over here. There's 3. Okay. The first step, number 3, is from stillness to an equilibrium or balanced position. This is represented by taking a cross-section of the middle diagram and noticing that it varies from an extreme of blackness, stillness, that's over here, blackness, that little section, to an equal, this is represented by taking a cross-section of the middle diagram and noticing that it varies from an extreme of blackness, stillness, to a 50-50 mixture of white and black, and of white and black, thereby representing the balancing point between the extremes. So you're going from here to perhaps over here, where you have white and black on that side. It's also symmetric. It's white and black on that side, 50-50, at the middle, where the bars are. A black bar appears at this point, symbolizing the equilibrium orbit of the situation under investigation. Number 4, which I guess is over there, going around the circle. This next step goes from balance to relative extreme of chaos. This is represented by the cross-section varying from 50-50 to an all-white chaotic situation. So this is all white. Of course, there's little dots in there because there's always some black in the white. You're never at the extreme of chaos. Number 5, at this point in the cycle reverses direction and goes from chaos to balance, symbolized in a similar manner as before. That's number 5, going this way. Lastly, the situation returns to relative stillness and begins again. Thus, the dance of Ananke is complete, at least for this equilibrium orbit. It is composed of the themes, patterns, or subplots of change, negative and positive, positive towards balance, negative away from balance, and an equilibrium point, an efficiency of the usage of energy, and of course opposites, the great extremes and the yang and yin halves of the cycle. Yang can be considered stillness to chaos in the Chinese Taoism, and yin, the chaos to stillness. 7. Where's 7? 7 is over here. 7. The visual picture of this dance must be viewed in the light of its linkage to other dances. As we yin and yang around an equilibrium orbit, there comes a time when an orbit shift is necessary. In general, the orbit shifts flow and ebb from stillness orbits to higher chaotic orbits and back again. Therefore, the 3 orbits, number 7, there's 1, 2, 3 orbits, number 7, in the symbol represent this progression. Start at the stillness point number 1, and pretend that the middle yin-yang circle symbol is riding like a planet on the inner orbit. Notice a curved line shifts you to orbit number 2. So over here we have a curved line that goes there, shifts you to number 2. So as we yin-yang, there comes a time when an orbit shift is necessary. In general, the orbit shifts flow and ebb from stillness orbits to higher chaotic orbits and back again. Therefore, the 3 orbits, number 7 in the symbol, represent this progression. Start at the stillness point number 1 and pretend that the middle yin-yang circular symbol is riding like a planet on the inner orbit. Notice a curved line shifts you to orbit 2. As we continue orbiting, a shift occurs, thrusting us to orbit 3. At this point, we are at the chaos symbol, thereby representing our furthest orbit away from our center of stillness and from whence we came. From here, we return, shifting downward periodically until we almost reach absolute stillness once more. So we have this progression going, shifting up, going around, shifting up, and finally you're at the chaos thing, then shifting down and shifting down to stillness. So you have this other cycle going on. All right. I'm still reading. This orbit shifting is one of the linkages to other yin-yang cycles, which are of a very much larger or very much smaller period of oscillation. This is called the pattern of orbits. Another linkage can be viewed in symbol number 7a. 7a, where is 7a? 7a, can't see it. Oh, over here. This guy. In 7a. Notice that it is oriented in an opposite manner to the main symbol, thereby suggesting that there exists an anti-pattern to every observed cycle in the universe. It is of the same cycle time or period of oscillation, and it has the property that at the precise time when one is in stillness, the other is in chaos. Since they are physically linked, there is always an active penetrating force driving the dual system. Thus each extreme can be said to generate the other, since there is always an enormous yang force at work at these extremes. This linkage is called the pattern of anticycles. So you have that as well down here. Okay. 8. Where's 8? 8, 8, 8. Can't see it backwards. 8 is somewhere. Don't see. Oh, 8 is in the middle. 8 is in the middle, over there. Lastly, we must ask, what is the absolute reality? What coordinates the dance? What is superior to the manifested rhythm, the universal pattern, the universal behavior? What is its property? The answer is symbolized in the middle of the diagram. The symbol is one of a normal distribution. It represents a balanced, moderate rhythm, its vibration being neither too high nor too low. This is the essence, the nature of God. 9. In history, others have seen, where is number 9? Number 9 is the Mayat over there. In history, others have seen the pattern and tried to describe it, interpret it, and use it to improve their material and spiritual lives. The ancient Egyptians of 5,000 to 6,000 years ago believed in the Memphitic theology, which had as one of its beliefs the concept that there is a pattern above the pharaoh, above Ra, above Ptah. They all were accountable to this behavior and could not violate its guiding constraints for any significant period of time. They described this pattern as being composed of opposites that were constantly holding any situation near its equilibrium position. They called this rhythm Mayat, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I've heard it pronounced Mat, but I tend to do Mayat. 10. That's over here with Thou. The ancient Chinese also had their sage of 5,000 to 6,000 years ago that saw the pattern. His name was Fu Shi. By legend, he saw the patterns in the sky and the patterns on the earth, and saw the reality, the order, the dance. He described this ultimate pattern by using 8 trigrams, 3-line pictographs. The order of the trigrams were not in a circle, but were linear, starting at 10A. Where is 10A? Starting there, that's a trigram over there. Tri, 1, 2, 3. And going all the way to 10B, like so. The translation of these symbols suggests a progression from a yang potential still condition to the manifestation of the yang principle as violent kinetic motion, and then back again to yin potential still condition. The translation in order from 10A to 10B of those trigrams, so we can see it over there, right? Clockwise is as follows. Heaven, a lake or a marsh, lightning, thunder, wind, rain, a mountain, and lastly the earth. This trigram concept and philosophy led to the ancient Chinese book called the I Ching, the Book of Changes. It led to the yin-yang teardrop symbol, which is the one that we mostly are familiar with, but this one is a little different, as you see. It influenced Chinese thought and culture to the present day. The pattern was eventually given a name. They called it Tao. 11, which is over here, Ananke itself. My exposure to this concept emerged as a result of an ancient history class where a strange yet appealing belief was expressed by my professor. I was 20 years of age. The year was 1970. The concept was Greek, and it was dated as emerging 3,000 years ago during the time of Homer. Above the demigods, nature and man was a design, a pattern, a guiding force, if you will. Neither God nor man could violate its boundaries. Both the gods and man would benefit by copying its way. Power, abundance, peace, and love were the rewards of a proper interpretation and understanding of this logos. Again, here's that thing there. This logical, moralistic design, or perhaps thought. This logos, this design, this thought, this word, as logos is usually mistranslated, was called Ananke. Quote, in the beginning was the logos word, and the logos was with God, and the logos was God. New Testament, John. Number 12, the outer boundaries of the symbol, that's over here, around the outer boundaries, the rectangular boundary, is the sign of a maze or puzzle. It represents the thought that an understanding of the symbol contained within will deliver the answers to the great mysteries of life. The answers to the great questions can be revealed, meaning and significance can be restored, health, love, and happiness can be achieved if we just understood and followed the way, the Tao, Mayat, the Logos, Ananke. Okay, so I'll let you look at this for a second, and then we will go on to another update. We pull it back so you can get a snapshot of it if you want. And here it is. Otherwise, you can turn to it in my book. It's in the first section of the updates. There it is, with an explanation if you want to download the book, which you can easily do. Okay, that's enough of that. And put that away, and we can get to the next thing. All right, it looks like we are up to Ananke and Herbert Spencer's first principles. I had spoken about that briefly before, and let's see now. Let's get to the thing there. We will, let's see.